Hi, welcome to the Sex Ed for You podcast, where research meets reality.
This is the podcast for people who want to date and have great sex that is safe, fun, and enjoyable.
We desire to empower our listeners to make informed decisions that lead to values-based living. I am Lauren. I am a Certified Holistic Sexuality Educator and the proud owner of Sex Ed for You.
I am Holland, and I am our Chief Culture and Content Coordinator. Today, we are talking about, well, we often say the 5 circles of sexuality. So we're going to hit on just the sexualization circle.
Okay, so pause the recording after this question and think about your answer. When you hear the word sexualization, what do you think? Okay, welcome back. I think the circles of sexuality are fascinating. And work with them and teach on them all the time, because I think what most of us grew up like hearing and thinking about sex and sexuality in the bodies of others is incomplete at best, if not completely non-existent. So we didn't get a lot of like great comprehensive sexuality education. So sexualization, in one of the definitions, is the use of sex to control or manipulate another. And it's fascinating to me because Holland and I really wanted to discuss this because Halloween is coming up. And what a funny holiday.
What a funny holiday.
What a funny holiday.
That's how you said it.
It's just, the whole thing is so funny. Growing up Presbyterian, we would do an All Saints Day or an All Hallows Eve thing. And so growing up, I was like, there were seasons of time where I was not allowed at all to celebrate Halloween as it looked. Then there were seasons of time where we did an All Saints Day type of celebration where we still put on costumes, but we had to dress as Bible characters.
No.
Then we went through a season where that was even not tolerable. So we would hide in the basement of my house and we would all watch To Kill a Mockingbird on Halloween.
Wow.
Anyway, it was interesting. Then I got to this point where some theologian in my life was like, no. The reason we are supposed to wear scary costumes because it's supposed to be that Christians, this was my faith structure, could laugh in the face of death. Like, haha, you can't frighten us. And so the spookier, the better. Listen, y'all, I have been through every revolution. Anyway, the one thing I never did was the atypical dress as a slutty like character or slutty profession. And so this is what you just pitched out to me was some stuff you've been seeing on the internet.
Yeah. So
let's go there, because then we were like, we should talk about sexualization.
We should, because, okay, so I went to Texas A&M. This is pretty widely known. We have a student-led journal, whatever it's called, newspaper. It's called The Battalion. And The Battalion will post opinion articles. And an opinion article was posted by a Catholic college student that says, don't turn my culture into your costume. And I was like, what a great turn of events. White victimhood at it again. But it was funny to me, because then I was like, okay, before we judge this girl, let's read the comments. And so I read the little preamble that's in the text on Instagram, because it was just an Instagram post. I didn't want to go read the whole thing, but I read the beginning parts. And it was essentially saying that, it makes a mockery of nuns. And then I went into the comments section because people were making a decent point about the fact that nuns are celibate for their whole lives, and that's like part of who they are, and don't sexualize that. And so then I started thinking, well, we should talk about this. The sexualization of, we have the nuns, we have nurses, we have cheerleaders, we have Hogwarts, we have literally anything. And for Halloween, it becomes sexy, insert blank. And I think it's fun and silly. I am literally going as like a sexy Ravenclaw this year. That is quite literally my costume. Already ordered my wand. Okay, so like, I'm here for it. But let's talk about the implications of it, because I am curious about your more well-rounded thoughts on this topic.
First of all that's running through my head is the song from Mean Girls, the musical, all about Halloween. So if you haven't heard it, go look it up, because it's hilarious, and it's all about I can be who I want to be and sexy.
Yep,
it's like
the best.
Just like every other day except sexy. So interesting. What I started to think immediately was cornerstones of eroticism, that it's an opportunity for folks to play with, especially search for power. I think, the kink world would probably giggle so hard that it's like mainstream America's one day to actually role play.
Yes.
And meanwhile, sexually free individuals do this all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
They have the sexy student, uniform in the back of their closet.
I have a whole bin under my bed.
Perfect.
That the kid found the other day. It was funny. It was really funny. She was like, why do you
It's all my Halloween costumes, okay?
a whole bin of all of these things? I've got a lot. I don't wear them all the time, but I could.
Yeah.
I could. And so that kind of got me thinking that I think so many of us would love to play more with power dynamics and reclaiming power from in these different ways. So I think what's so neat about the roles that are so typical, nurse, teacher, nun, all of these types of things, is there's such a clear prohibition. That is not to be a sexual thing. Right? And so we get to violate a prohibition. We get to make it sexy for the day. That is like so many people's fantasy. And it's like, there it is. Tell me you don't have fantasies. Tell me that you don't. Yes, there is such a proclivity to the taboo. Attraction plus obstacle equals excitement. And so it's like Halloween is like a celebration of, all of these things that really our psyches have been turned on by for forever. We'll even do it with like fairy tale characters like Peter Pan and Wendy and Tinkerbell and stuff, right? It's like, ooh.
I was literally sexy Tinkerbell last year.
Like it's a thing. And so I don't know. Of course we could take it down some like deep, I don't know, pathologized route.
Yeah, psychology.
But I don't want to pathologize. I do think it's interesting. And I always think things are interesting, like what we are drawn to. Why are you being a sexy Ravenclaw?
Because I've been reading a lot of Hermione fanfic lately, and I don't know, it sounds fun, and it's easy to do as a couple's costume. And it's easy. For me, a lot of what I choose of a Halloween costume is what do I have in my closet that I can pull on and then just get like 2 or 3 things, because I am not someone who goes to like Spirit Halloween and just gets the whole costume. So it's like, it's easy.
Holland's Enneagram 4 would like die.
I would.
Like,
because somebody else is going to have it.
Yes.
I don't want that.
I can't even, I literally, no, you're not going to be doing
I'm making it mine. I made a Pinterest board. I've been making like vision boards and all stuff for my next chapter. Honestly, this might tie in more than I think it does, because for my next era, yesterday I was listening to psychology podcasts because I was in such the depths. I was like, what are we going to do? Something needs to change. And I have been feeling that lately, that like I'm kind of on the cusp of something. And for my next era, I want to do, the word is going to be focus. My word is focus, and I'm focusing on creativity, on writing, reading, doing art, being in nature, going to museums, like really immersing myself in like the arts.
Cool.
Is what I want to focus on. And so I started making a vision board, and it was lots of like Ravenclaw vibes, essentially, like blues and books and ravens and mysterious academia.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what I'm moving into. And then for Halloween, I was also like, well, I could be a Ravenclaw for Halloween. So that is why I chose Sexy Ravenclaw, because I want to tie up my little button-down shirt with a skirt and a little tie.
There you go.
Ta-da.
Ta-da. I do just think it's interesting. And I think if y'all haven't explored a little bit of, maybe go back and look at your Halloween costumes over the years, it might be fun to do like a little Yeah, see if there are some connect the dots,
Yeah.
like Colin said. Or maybe you are a go to Spirit Halloween and just grab something.
Great.
That's also fine and fun. But maybe if you do go to Spirit Halloween, look at the sexy characters for all of these things and just make some mental notes of things that have been put there, right? Sexy Dorothy from Wizard of Oz, sexy. It's just interesting of who are we sexualizing. And again, objectification and sexualization are really interesting things, and fetishization. If it was consensual, if you are choosing to be sexy Ravenclaw, it is an invitation. Like, please enjoy me. Please celebrate me. It's yay. It's really wonderful. And I think what's really interesting is when we psychologically split the sexual self off from the real self and try to pretend like we don't desire or see or want or get turned on by, that's when things actually get scary. That's when it's actually repressed. But I don't know. Halloween just feels like an actual celebration of all of the things that we're all turned on by all the time anyway. And we're just actually stating it. And I love that women could it's like a time where people in female bodies with boobs and legs and are encouraged to like strut around. And good. Wouldn't it be great if like that was just all the time? And would our culture be able to handle it, I wonder?
Right. I was about to say, and it's because it's socially acceptable. I think on that day or on that week or weekend, whatever, it feels like you are given permission. And that permission piece, as we say so many times, is so important to making a decision that feels risky. Because if you're given permission to do it, it feels accepted. And on that Halloween weekend, it feels there is such an air of, oh, I can do it. I can go out in this outfit because not only will I be the only one, but everyone else is also in an empowered state where they feel they can dress how they want to. So it's not just that I'm going to be the only one dressed this way, because we've all been that way before where you didn't get the dress memo or you didn't get whatever. You go out to brunch with your friends and you're wearing, your short skirt and your tank and everybody else is in sweats. And you're like, oh my God, like I look stupid. But in reality, you give yourself the permission. Halloween gives us the permission to wear whatever the fuck you want to wear. And that is the best feeling ever. And I wish it were like that every day.
Okay, so challenge to everybody who listens to this podcast around Halloween. What does permission feel like in your body? Because Holland is exactly right. She said it. I don't even know if she knows she said it. We give ourselves permission. But we feel like there's a cultural blanket permission that day. I am not saying you need to go out and wear all your, sexy costumes from before. I am saying, though, if you are in a dating relationship, if you're in a long-term partnership, if you are struggling to show up for yourself in a certain way because you feel like you don't have permission to fill in the blank, take note of what it feels like, what the embodied choice to give yourself permission feels like. Do you still have some nerves? Are you still like, oh, this is going to be more of my skin? Good. See what that feels like and how it feels in your body, because that stored memory will still be there. And so if there's another moment where you're struggling to wear the dress, where you're struggling to, feel good in your body in a sexual encounter, what did the permission feel like? Because permission's going to feel the same next time for you too. In the sex education world, we have a PLICIT model, and the P stands for permission. It is that important.
Yes.
It is the reason why clients come back to their first session after having just done an intake and tell me all these amazing things that happened in the past 2 weeks. And they're like, we haven't even started. And I'm like, that's permission. Welcome. Yes. It's yummy. It's really yummy. And I think Halloween gives folks permission, and yay.
So does if you don't participate in Halloween necessarily, I would also say it's like event permission, a concert, a themed party. Christmas gives you permission to wear, the ugly Christmas sweater.
Yes.
These are all instances of permission. So pull on like the feeling of the day before your favorite concert, and, you're putting together this outfit that you wouldn't wear to work or you wouldn't wear to the market, but you get to wear the Sabrina Carpenter tour, all those outfits, the Brat Tour outfits, those are all instances of permission.
The Eras Tour, my God.
Yes.
Everybody's planning what era at all times. Yep.
It is incredible what permission can do for the way we see ourselves.
Okay, well, then that just got me thinking, too, of we all are so creative and imaginative. And I was sharing with folks about this the other day when it comes to fantasy. And I'm so glad you're going into this like creative, studious era and focused era, because we are those people. We just sometimes don't give it space to breathe. We don't plan for it. We don't do these things. So yes, see what this permission feels like in your body. And if it's fun, can you do it more? Now, let's remember that we might all be seeing a lot of sexy content during these seasons. It is absolutely fine to see this sexy content and appreciate all of this sexy oozingness everywhere. It is not okay to assume that means that a person wants to be touched in a sexual way or to begin to fetishize them or to come up and make lewd comments to them. This is not blanket permission for others to act in certain ways. It's not. It is not. That whole, well, she was asking for it because she was wearing this trope is absolutely closed.
No.
That is not acceptable.
This giving yourself permission is a closed circle.
Yes.
It is permission in the mirror
Yes.
or your reflection, whatever you want to say.
Yes.
It is permission of self, not permission outside. Permission from outside is consent, and that is different. And I mean, you can ask yourself consent for doing things, but I would call of that more of a permission type cycle. Consent is a completely and totally different topic, and that is something that you have a conversation about.
Yes.
You don't get to touch somebody's ass because they've given themselves permission to wear something that shows their ass.
No.
Not the same thing.
No. I have done so many intakes in the past few weeks. Hello, all the new clients. And so many people had someone tell them at some point that women were responsible for keeping their brothers or other men from stumbling, from being tempted, from yada, 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 yada. That is bogus. And so as you're out and about, please stand strongly in your agency, and you please know you can absolutely grant yourself permission to dress however sexily you want to, and that is not permission for anyone to come near you with anything non-consensual. An energy, a vocalization, hands, nope, not okay. And back to our point of what would society do if we all got to be like this? I don't know. Part of me is like, it would normalize it a lot more, right? It is interesting. Okay, so the one downside I will say is that a lot of these costumes are for the male gaze.
Yeah.
And that's interesting to me, right? We've gotten away from, costumes just for the sake of costumes. They are sexy, and I'm like, who are they for, right? That's, I hope, for people to be empowered and in themselves. But I do think it is interesting. The last episode was all about like attraction and feeling attractive and body positivity, negativity, neutrality. Interesting, right? Not a lot of the guys' costumes are that sexy. And not a lot of, it's just not. Or it's like fake abs, you know, like those types of things.
You're
and
like, that's for the male gaze also.
Right. Like it's just interesting. So if somebody wanted to dissect in like a way, like the head, it would be, oh, look at us celebrating cis hetero patriarchy still, even on a Halloween.
What I enjoy for Halloween, what I think you can almost take a left turn at that, because I have found that I really enjoy, quote unquote, the male gaze on not on myself, but like I enjoy that type of look on myself. But what I will do is do like a really funky makeup and put like blue eyeliner, probably to match like my raven. That to me like makes it for me.
Cool.
Like doing what aspect of your costume can make it for you? I think that's maybe a good question to ask, rather than like, is this male gaze or female gaze? It's like, okay, is this for me? Do I enjoy the way this looks, or am I thinking about how it looks to others? But like, what makes it fun for me? Right. I enjoy putting on sparkles. I'm going to have so much body glitter on Halloween. I want to look like a vampire, okay? A Ravenclaw vampire, apparently, because I just like sparkles. And so I will be putting sparkles all over myself. How can you make Halloween for you?
I love that. And what Holland is so beautifully illuminating is that we can choose to want to be objectified.
Oh, yeah.
That is chosen, desired objectification. It is strong. It is sexy. It is deserving. It is understanding our own desirability. So, yeah, we can step into that and love it.
Yeah.
Luxuriate in it. There is never should we be ashamed of that.
No. In that way, you're right. You totally brought that up for me, because I think I enjoy what tastes like reclamation.
Yep.
Because when I step out in a body, in an outfit, in a look that feels, and I know that men will be looking, I am usually going to be ovulating and in a state of mind where I can look right back at them with confidence in my eyes, with my blue makeup on, and say, yeah, this is what I fucking look like. And you don't get to touch it. And you, like, it's almost for me, especially with all of the like assault kind of situations that I have been through, it's like, this is not the cause of assault is what it feels like to me. This is my body. I can wear this and I can be confident and I can go out and I can look you straight in the eyes and say, so what? This is mine. It's a reclamation of body for me to know that other people are going to want it, and not just that they can't have it, but that it's mine. This is mine. And you either can or can't have it. And guess what? That's up to me. I get to make that choice. And if I want to, sleep with whoever, obviously it's like I get to make that choice.
Yes.
And that reclamation is huge for me for Halloween.
I love that. And may that be every day in all of our bodies, because no one ever deserves to be taken from without their consent. And, Jack Moran would say that we're not judged by the purity of our thoughts, but the characters of our actions. And so to be consensually objectified, to step out in something we know we look hot in, is to celebrate the presence of sexual pleasure, to celebrate the fact that, my body might bring pleasure to another, right? That might be, but this is for me. This is placing my desires forward and trusting others to keep responsible for their limits, trusting that they will not touch if they have not been granted permission to touch, and that they can objectify and go home and masturbate if they want to. But that's not up to me. What's up to me is I get to be attractive right now, and I get to luxuriate in that. Where it gets tricky is, again, our last podcast of, does my attraction level bring me closer into connection with people, right? But if we are just exuding and oozing and luxuriating in our own bodies and our own sensuality, then that's hot, which that's another circle of the circles of sexuality, which I think is interesting, right? We started out talking about sexualization of certain characters, certain work roles, that type of thing. What's interesting is sensuality is an awareness of and a delight in one's own body and the bodies of others. So what if you made it, yes, sexy Halloween, but also sensual Halloween, where you're telling your friends, oh my gosh, you look amazing. Or right, like your boobs in the top, or wow, your ass, right? That having an awareness of and appreciation for our own body and the bodies of others is not wrong. We have just become only used to people dressing and showing their bodies on Halloween, where we have sexualized the nature of the holiday, that we've forgotten about sensuality. And everything that you're saying is sensuality. It's you being like, yes, this is for me. Yes, please. May we all, because That's fun. Like, that's really fun. And these bodies are for play, for imagination, and for fantasy and excitement. And when we say that that's all bad, what we do is rob people of the opportunity to push into the nuance. It's like, no, it's not all bad. What's bad is non-consensual touching. What's bad is non-consensual objectification. What's bad is the coercion. Delighting in our bodies is not bad. It's very fun.
I love the permission that Halloween gives us.
Yes.
And that concerts gives us.
Yes.
I just, the permission piece brings me joy. And I think it's so interesting that we feel we need permission to feel sensual.
Mm-hmm.
How can we give ourselves permission to be sensual?
It starts with feeling how permission feels in your body. Mm-hmm. I am not kidding. And I think Halloween's a perfect example. And take note, this is a very Holland thing to say, but like, of the things that you do and in what order does it grant you that permission, right? So do you delight, listener and viewer, in the Pinterest board and in the planning of the costume and in this type of thing? Does that kind of, that's a piece of how you give yourself permission. I'm going on vacation, hallelujah, next week. And the amount of forethought I put into what I'm going to be wearing is a part of the permission granting, is a part of, no, you get to. This is what you're going to wear there. So that's part of my process. We say this all the time, but your circles of people that you're in matter. Mm. And so if you're not in a circle with individuals who celebrate your sensuality and who celebrate bodies and the bodies of others, you might need to leave circles. I don't know how much permission you're going to be able to give yourself if everyone else is like, no, and slapping your hand. So maybe,
even if they just do it to themselves.
Yes.
That rubs off on us. Like I said last episode, like the way that people treat themselves is something that you witness.
Yes.
And hearing friends talk, because there's a difference between voicing, like we've said, and talking to each other about the way we feel rather than just negatively putting a spin on everything, on, I can't have, I shouldn't have a mimosa. I shouldn't. It always for me comes from the word of shouldn't.
Oh, yeah.
I shouldn't have a dessert. Not that I don't want to have a dessert. That's always gets me. It's not, I don't want cheesecake. It's, I shouldn't.
Ugh.
And if that kind of like shouldn't, that ick, that that negative energy is in a circle that you are consistently surrounded by, let's maybe look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. This got me down a long whole thing of like, it is okay to make a values-based decision, y'all. And it is okay if that sounds like this dessert doesn't benefit me in this moment. Because my overall value is in watching my sugar intake, or I get canker sores the moment I eat sugar, or you know what, I really wanted to focus on eating more protein today. That is, I want. It benefits me. We don't always want to go to the dentist, but it benefits us in the long run. There are certain things that we do that benefit us or don't benefit us. So yeah, if your friend group doesn't give you permission, it might not benefit you anymore. So maybe change friend groups. I know it's very much, we'll have a whole episode on that at some point because that is not easy, but it is so necessary. Watch your process. Really think about who you're in relationship with and whether or not they will celebrate this permission that you are here granting yourself. Notice how it feels in your body. And this might sound kooky nuts, but plan ahead. I think it actually matters because we've been talking about the 4 cornerstones, this whole thing. Anticipation is really fun. And yeah, Helen's going to a concert. And like when you're anticipating going to something, it's a lot of fun. I think giving yourself permission to be childlike and anticipate. Because we as adults just could live boring lives. And I say phooey. I say that part of the permission we need to grant ourselves is the ability to take joy in things, the ability to anticipate. That's also what I think makes Halloween so sweet. It's that people are, I mean, there's so many spoofs on Spirit Halloween. It like pops up in communities, right? Like we know that there's like the time of year where Spirit Halloween pops up. That's what's so sweet about routines and rituals. I mean, frankly, it's a ritual too. And so as you're noticing these things, all these things that make Halloween special, where else could you put those things? I mean, date nights are perfect examples. Okay, well, what made Halloween sweet? I have people tell me all the time, like, is it wrong to schedule sex? And I'm like, no, it's not wrong. But what if instead you scheduled space to play? What if instead you thought about what makes Halloween so great and put those same types of structures in for date night and still got really like dressed up, had a theme, did all this silly stuff. And then maybe, yes, you will want some physical intimacy. Maybe you won't. You'll still have a good time, right? That the things that make a good time make a good time. Like you can take them and transfer them.
It's a recipe.
They are transferable. Yeah. Exactly. And we have so much embodied wisdom. We just don't take note of it. So yes, permission, but permission is going to feel different for Holland than it is for me and different for every viewer and listener. And we're about to get a really cool opportunity to see what permission feels like and to see the favorite parts of any given thing for us. And y'all, if Halloween's also not your thing, take note of that and find something else that you find, like observe yourself anticipating or giving yourself permission to really soak up and live life. Yeah. Sensuality doesn't have to be saved for the times that we have condoned, oh, it's okay to sexualize this thing.
That you can do that for yourself.
We can do that all the time. Yeah. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween
You want to wrap
and
us
Dia
up?
de los Muertos. Yeah, so these are our opinions and lived experiences. Take what you like, leave what you don't. You never have to listen. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can send that to me at admin@sexedforyou.com. Forgot my email for a sec. And if you would like to book a free consult with Lauren, you can at sexedforyou.com/free consult. It'll ask you a few questions. That's just to see if you kind of understand the work that we do and that you're here for the right reasons. And if so, then you're 100% good to go. We'll put you on with a free consult and we'll see if that works out for y'all. And if we don't feel like it's a good match, we'll recommend you out some other resources and some other people that you could talk to. If you would like to follow us on Instagram, they can find us at
sex_ed_for_you. We're also on Facebook, not very active, but we're there. If you're a Facebooker, most things just transfer over. Yeah, make sure to like and follow and share, do all that good stuff. Yeah, take what you like, leave the rest. This is all about informed choice and letting you lead a more values-aligned life. And that's really important to us.
Yeah,
I think that's it.
Yeah.
Have a great holiday, y'all. Bye-bye.